Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years, but only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed me.
fail it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Oh, all this time I was sitting here. Wait, okay, hurry! I can't wait till they get here. I can't wait to. I was almost not ready for you. I was just sitting here, just gazing around. Hey, wake up! Good morning. I'm talking to myself when I say wake up. But man, what a weekend! What a weekend! A lot of us stretched the 4th of July from last weekend all the way through to this weekend. I know we did. Yeah, I had birthday number 61 last Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, but we celebrated it really. I mean, we went to KC and Sunshine Band Tuesday night. That was awesome. Yes, hats off to KC. All you got to do is I figured it out. Doesn't matter how old you are, if you're a performer, have synthesizers, a bunch of horns, and some really great black girls dancing and singing backgrounds. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Casey, I was like, who? Right. I didn't know if he was up there or not. I didn't care. It was that good. So anyway, and then this weekend, yesterday, if you've been on my page at all, Saturday, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. We had my birthday party here. It was great. A lot of the LMH coaching rock stars were in town, and some came from out of state. It was really nice. We hung out. We did everything. We were in the water. We had a fire pit at night. The deck was in full effect, and I cooked my behind off, y'all, so much. I love to send everybody home. We had those big those aluminum to-go pans, and we just loaded everybody up. It was a really great time. Thank you to everyone who came and just poured in to the entire experience this weekend, and thank you for the wonderful gifts. I got some beautiful stuff, including this new Metatron. You can't really see it, but it's really beautiful, from Karma Courts, one of my sponsors. That's where I get all these. You see, I wear their stuff all the time. Thank you, Sanjay, and thank you to all the folks over at Karma Courts. So welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. It's a Monday, and you know how that is. Mondays, we kind of drag booty, but we're going to pick it up and get going. We got a lot of work to do this week. I did a reel this morning about the road to legacy begins today, and it truly does. And today on Bathrobe Moments, I'm so excited to have Diane here, Diann. See, one of those regular Dianes. So that should be your first clue. Now I think it's become thriving solopreneurs. So Diane became she's done her homework. She was a psychotherapist. And how does that make you feel? Wait, now you could be projecting. I know all the lingo because I'm married to one. Right? Get out of my head, honey. So anyway, her mission is to help female solopreneurs with big ideas and busy brains just get focused, fired up, and flame retardant. We don't want you burning out now, do we? Diane is also the creator of The Boss Up Breakthrough. The Boss Up Breakthrough. So you got to hit that just right. The Boss Up Breakthrough. And also the host of the Driven Woman Entrepreneur podcast. So for all of you out there with wombs, and those of you who love someone with a womb, which is all of us, because we all love our moms, right? So it is about time to get the business strategist in here. Seriously. And guess what? No bullshit. Here she comes. Cry bullshit. I'm kidding.
I am not going to ask you how that makes you feel. I'm just not.
Oh, yeah, y'all. That's the Bella purpose. I'm going to ring it with some truth is out on the table. Oh, hold on before I get sued. She's back. She was gone 2 days last week getting her roots done, but she's back. This is our girl, my sidekick. She's my Ed McMahon, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo in the house. So, Diane, how do we say that last name?
Wingert.
Wingert. That's what I thought.
Easy peasy.
Wingert.
Exactly.
What are some of the variations you've heard?
Oh my God. Wingate, Weingart.
Weingart. I figured that'd be a big one.
Wigget. Yeah.
Wigget.
Yeah. I'm not. It's like, no, this is the real deal, honey. This
Rhymes with. I'm just kidding.
you got that right.
So I'm so happy. Listen, I like to do a little thing. I'm going to dip out for like 45 seconds to a minute. Just let you have a moment to kind of create a vibe with everybody. Okay. So there may be things you want to talk about that aren't in the bio. And then I'll come back in. We'll get officially started talking about how you're going to help these women today. And for you guys out there who are watching, think about the women in your world that could benefit. You might want to tag them and get them in here. So all you, Diane, take it away. I'll be back in just about a minute.
So first of all, I do have an unusual spelling of Diane, but that's because I was adopted at birth by someone who dropped out of school in the 6th grade. She did not actually know how to spell. Lauren and I had a great time getting to know each other about some of our childhood trauma stories. I figure nobody becomes a psychotherapist by accident, but I reached a point in that journey where I wanted to shift the conversations I was having from problems to possibilities. And that is why after 20 years as a successful psychotherapist, I decided to pivot into coaching and especially working with women who wanted to start their own businesses. And let me tell you, there's a whole lot of them out there and the number keeps on growing. So that's what I'm doing now. And it's really fulfilling my purpose.
By the way, just so you know, we eat on this show. So I'm having, because I still have my birthday box, I have one more bowl left. I get a box of cereal of my choice once a year. And this year I chose Fruit Loops. And Sanjay from Karma Courts, his wife, baked me banana nut muffins. I know I got 2 more. I'm going to eat another one here in a minute. So
I got my coffee, no food.
Oh, cheers. Where are you in the world? Where do you live?
Well, I divide my time. My husband and I divide our time between Palm Springs and the Oregon coast. So I'm currently on the coast because it's too effing hot in the Springs right now. For my lily white skin, anyway. Let me.
I was going to say, you got it like that. So Palm Springs, California.
Correct.
And then the Oregon coast.
Mm-hmm.
You see how she just rolls off her tongue, doesn't it? So that means you're by water.
Exactly.
Is it nice there? We're looking for a place to retire to with water.
Oh, well, you know what? You don't want to be right where we are because it's quite remote and you are very social. So where I would suggest you check out is maybe a little bit further up the coastline, or there's some really lovely places on the central coast of California we can talk about later.
Was that her nice way of saying, I like you, Lauren, but I do not want to live in that
honey. No, you are
loud ass. I'd like to sleep.
No, I am loud for my neighbors. So I'm just wondering what would happen if there were 2 of us here.
It'd be too much for them. They'd run us out on a rail.
Yeah, we'd be off the island.
Are you a water person, Diane? You guys like to do stuff on the water?
You know what? Not so much. I just find I'm very hyperactive. I have ADHD.
Me too.
Well, I knew that.
I know that's our superpower.
We always find each other. I need the ocean nearby to calm and ground me so I can tap into my creativity and point it in one direction instead of scattering it in every direction.
I hear you. Listen, I know what I want to start this conversation with because you're a psychotherapist. And I'm married to one. Yes. And my husband lost a lot of his colleagues when he married a speaker /coach. We're like, you're engaged to what? It wasn't even who, it was what. And he really did. Let me ask you, when you did the big
switcheroo,
from psychotherapy over to coaching, of all things, you turncoat, Did you lose any friends, any colleagues? Seriously.
Honey, you know I did. And let me tell
What
you
is
something.
that?
Okay, let me back you up just a little bit, because even before I became a coach, at some point along the way in my psychotherapist journey, because a lot of psychotherapists work together with psychiatrists who prescribe medication, and I was attracting people who wanted to work on themselves and get better, but maybe if they could do it without medication, that was their preference.
Yeah.
So I trained in neurofeedback. And when I trained in neurofeedback and I combined that with psychotherapy, some of my colleagues said, "Are you trying to put us all out of business?" And I said, "Darling, there are 400 practices in this zip code alone. I can't handle all those people. And why are you being so insecure?" So when I decided to become a coach,
Why indeed?
I'll tell you, as I was sharing in my little private time with the audience, I reached a point in my own life, and you and I are around the same age, and happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. I didn't know you were in your 30s too. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And winding backwards by the day. So I reached a point in my own life where I thought, I'm not going to be here forever. In fact, the road ahead is shorter than the road behind.
Thank
And
you.
I just wanted to shift the conversations I was having with other humans from problems to potential and possibilities. And I realized that's much more of a coaching role. And when I started trying to do that with my psychotherapy clients, some of them were here for it, but some of them were like, "No, darling, you just want me to feel better about how shitty my life is." And I said, "You know what? There's more for you than this. You are healed. What's happened to you is in the past. Life can get better. But if we're still sitting up in the muck, even though we're healed from it, there's more to life than that." And that's what I'm interested in talking about with people. Listen, I love therapy. And I really want to make this very clear, because a lot of people ask me this question. I think therapy is fan-fucking-tastic. However, I believe it is the modality of choice for trauma, abuse, addiction, and serious loss. But once you're healed, and you want more in your life, you're better off shifting to working with a coach.
Exactly. And as a coach, and this is another thing, coaches, seriously, I knew this from the beginning. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. When you reach that person and I go, "Oh, as much as I'd love to coach with you, I think you need some therapy first." And it's exactly for what you said.
Yes.
Because they haven't healed. They can't get past these roadblocks.
Yes.
I'm standing on the other side and they're peeking over the wall. And it's like, listen, I can't coach you just because you got over it, found a way around it, or digging your way from underneath it. That's wall talk. That's not an opportunity. No. I need you to look through the window, then have the courage to come through the door. And that's how we get through something. You have to go into it in order to get through it. So I agree with you 1000%.
But can I say thank you for having the integrity to tell someone you're not ready for coaching? Because there are many coaches who will try to coach someone who really needs to be working with a mental health professional. And when they don't get the desired outcome, they blame the client. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, know your lane, know your damn lane.
Well, and thank you, God, for the model you gave me for my work. Because when I coach with people, I don't have a certain amount of time. When they come in for life. So I'm thinking ahead. It's like, can I be in a car with you for 365 straight days on a road trip? And if you're healed, absolutely. If you're in a great place within healing the process, because I don't believe the healing ever ends. Because even the more we heal from one thing, then we learn to heal from another. Plus, then we're healing others.
Yes.
So the healing is like a slinky. It just keeps moving forward. So anyway, but what about this one? And this I always ask, because there's a lot of women who have great products and services, but they only want to deal with other women.
Oh,
what is up with, I get it, time's up, me too. I get it. Suffrage all the way. I get it. But what about, I can't remember the name of it. It was a book called something girl. And it was
wash your face, girl.
Yes.
Girl, wash your face.
I kept seeing it. It was back before COVID.
You thought it was for you, right?
No, but well, kind of did. But when you go in people's offices and their house, I kept seeing that book laying everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I got it. And it had a lot of information that was working for me.
Yes.
Even in how I relate to women.
Yes.
But the only thing about me is she was like, so girls, and I felt like I'm here too.
Yeah. I'm glad you're you are asking me all the right questions. Yeah. That's some wisdom. That's some deep wisdom there. So let me be clear. So we covered the thing about all up in your glory. You're all up in your glory moment.
Thank you.
Okay. We've answered the question about therapy.
Boy, I had a good one for that one, but I won't. It's too early.
Oh, I know where you're going, honey. We're gonna leave that. I know. Yep, I know. We're gonna leave that. Just gonna leave that alone. It rhymes with. Never mind. So. Exactly. Okay.
That was nasty too.
You know what? I'm here for it. And it's only a little after 6 a.m.
I know.
Right? It's like,
oh my God. What do you like after 12?
Spicy time in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a morning person.
Me too.
Here's the thing. I market to women. I work with everyone. In fact, I have always worked with men, straight men, queer men. I have non-binary clients. I work with everybody because I choose my clients based on the fact that they are right and they are ready. Because I'm not going to work harder for their results than they do. And a lot of people think when you're strong that they can just hop on your bus and you're going to drag them to success. And I'm like, I cannot want this for you more than you want it for yourself, because that's unhealthy for me. So I choose my clients. I work with women. I work with men. I work with non-binary folk. I work with the right people who are ready to work with me. I do happen to market to women, but because this question comes up so often, Lauren, it is really making me think maybe I should be taking another look at my brand, because I just this past weekend at a social event found out that 2 men who live near me are listening to my podcast. And I don't even remember telling them about it.
See? That's kind of how I felt when I started getting feedback from the LGBT world, from people like, oh yeah, my friend watches you and he's gay and he's in some obscure place. And I'm like, how did you think no one, it reminds me back in the day when I started in radio in this business, and I had, of course, overnight shift. That's the only place they put you. Yeah. And I remember I was thinking, nobody's even awake, but there's a whole world navigating around that you don't see. So here's the word that I love when I went to your Facebook page, and we're going to drop that link in for you before the end of the broadcast and during. So keep your eyes and ears open. But the word that jumped out, and you said, well, after the acronym BS, no BS, because I'm that way. If you go to my website, there's a bunch of red X's first. If you have trouble being told what you need and it doesn't match what you think you want, then you might want to keep on pushing. If you want a best friend, this is not the right fit for you. And I remember when I posted all those objections, my husband said, honey, do you think it's a good idea to put all those X's before you put the green check? I was like, yeah. Because if they're looking for this, there ain't nothing else to talk about. So
if they can't handle all that juicy goodness,
that's what I mean.
Keep on going.
You say no BS. People think that's a clever little, she raw. I love her. But what does it really mean when you say, because sometimes they open the wrapper and they go, oh, they think they're ready for no bullshit. But then they take everything personal. Talk about the person. What does that mean? Who are you talking to when you say no bullshit? What kind of person? Procrastinator? What?
Well, first of all, I'm letting them know when you're dealing with me, you're going to get the full strength DW, right? I'm no half calf. I'm no decaf. Like, who I am is who I am. And you're either here for it or you're not. I am not going to moderate. I'm not going to dumb down. I'm not going to water down. I'm not going to quiet down. I have been named, and this is one of my male clients. It's one of my best compliments ever from a client. He said, you know who you are, Diane Wingert? I said, well, I'm feeling you're about to tell me who you think I am. And he says, you're the speaker of uncomfortable truths. And you know what? I said, I love that so hard. And that is so damn accurate, because a lot of therapists, and it's one of the reasons why I'm not a therapist anymore, because I was trained at UCLA. at a time when a therapist was supposed to be that blank slate. And because, a lot of people project their mommy issues on you, I was kind of like the big sister, the auntie, the best friend, the mother figure. But sometimes people need to hear things that feel a little bit confrontational in order to get out of their own damn way. And I thought, I am not serving this other human being if I'm dancing around that shit. Like, I need to open the can. But I did learn that I needed to screen my clients and really determine if they were really ready for it. Because as you say, Lauren, some people think they're ready for it and they're not. So I kind of developed a reputation, and this goes back to the coach versus therapist thing. I developed a reputation among my other therapist colleagues that I was very outspoken. I was very direct. I will talk about the subjects that nobody else would talk about. Mm-hmm. So people were sending me people who were considering gender reassignment long before it was something people were talking about because they were uncomfortable. They would send me the people who were suicidal. They would send me the people who had had sexual abuse. I'm not afraid of anything. Anybody wants to talk about anything, I was there for it. And a lot of my therapist colleagues were like, oh, that's just a little bit too much for me. I am such a relentlessly curious person. And I went through so much shit in my childhood that I healed from that I figure I'm uniquely qualified to work with people who are not afraid to face the most uncomfortable truths. Right. So, and that's not for everybody, because some people think they're ready, like you say, and they aren't. And that's why I screen everybody before I agree to work with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it. I totally get it. So after I got past the acronym and I was, okay, I get that. Here's the piece that jumped out. I want you to talk, or let's pivot and go to it, because I don't think enough people have a clear idea of what this word truly can mean. And that is thriving. Because you said you work with people. As a matter of fact, let me just say, you said the no BS therapist turned business strategist and coach who helps experts and professionals. So you're qualifying. Look, I'm not for a beginner.
No,
I'm for an expert. I'm for a professional, because you got to have that mindset. Who are experts become? You help them become thriving solopreneurs, so you can have the credentials, you can have all the whatever you think status or whatever, and still not be thriving.
So true.
What does that mean, thriving? I mean, are you on floats waving at people and people are throwing rose petals? What is thriving?
Nobody ever invited me to be on the Rose Parade, even though I lived in Pasadena, California for years, and I'm still butthurt about that. Let me tell you.
I lived there.
Did you?
Well, I lived in Altadena.
Oh my goodness!
Right up on Mendocino.
You may know a good friend of mine from that area.
I may.
You may.
I was quite the runaround.
I'll bet. I'm gonna ask him later if he knows you. So here's the thing. Thriving. And let me back up a little bit. Somebody asked me, and this gets asked a lot. Like, why did you stop being a therapist and become a coach? And finally, I just said, think of it this way. Therapy can take you from terrible to tolerable, and it might even take you from tolerable to good. But if you want to go from good to great, right, you need to work with a coach. You need to work with the right coach. What I find is a lot of people who, and whether they're men, women, or gender nonconforming, people who've become professionals, people who've become legitimate experts in their field, have relied on their credentials, their professional reputation, and usually an in-person network to make them as successful as they can be in that type of work. But when they decide to go bigger, when they decide to take up more space, when they decide to have more impact, reach a bigger audience, or simply break away from the way their professional life has been, they are utterly lost. And I had to go through that myself, because closing a successful psychotherapy practice and taking my business online and learning how to connect with people all over the world and attract clients all over the world and have a podcast that reaches people all over the world, that was a whole different set of skills that required me to not only start from scratch, but to make myself more visible
Yeah.
and market myself in a way that was never required of me as an expert and a professional. I mean, as a therapist in Pasadena, California, all I had to do, and I don't mean all as in it wasn't much, because it was, is do excellent work and network with the right people who would refer to me. My clients would refer to me. But when you go online, you kind of become a nobody. And so experts and professionals are thinking, hey, I have all these credentials. I have all this experience. I have all this expertise. You jump into the waters of the internet and you're mixed up in there with people who literally don't know their ass from their elbow. So it requires you to develop your visibility, your confidence, your voice in a way that these people
Smells like an elbow.
So you got to switch up your products, honey.
Smells just like an elbow to me.
They don't know how to market themselves, Lauren.
I know.
And that's when all this, and what's ridiculous is this, we hear about this term imposter syndrome. You know who has imposter syndrome? It's not the actual imposters. The people who have imposter syndrome are the people who know the most and yet feel like they can't really share it and they can't really market it. Isn't that fascinating?
It is. It's time for your close-up.
Okay.
I'll come back. So I've begun to see, I'm thinking, okay, let me guess who her ideal client is, or one that is right up front. So when people begin, a lot of people nowadays, they retire, but there's so much life still in front. It's not like 50 years ago when you retired after 20 years, they gave you a gold watch, you started playing bingo and golf. No, people are starting second careers. They're becoming solopreneurs, or things happen like COVID.
Yep.
Moms become empty nesters. Dads become empty nesters now, and they haven't been in the workforce for decades because they were a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, and now they want to do something, but not. And you hear of programs for people who want to re-enter after whatever, but usually that's geared to people to go get a job, keep building someone else's dream. Exactly. You're more for that person who is ready to create or fulfill what was always their own dream.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
In fact, let me tell you, I call these people encore entrepreneurs. Ooh. And yeah, because they're having their encore. In fact, one of the men that I worked with last year was retired from a 30-year career in financial services. He was a financial advisor, did very well. And he had an amazing voice, has an amazing voice. It's the first thing I noticed about him. And I complimented him on his voice. And then he told me that, and I'm
what was so wonderful about his voice?
Well, it wasn't quite as sexy as yours, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah, you made your point. Ring the bell. Ring the damn bell. Come on. There you go. He wanted to be a voice actor.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I'm going to help you do that. So we helped him create a voice acting business. And now he's divides his time between marketing his voice acting business and playing with the grandchildren. And it's enough for him. And he's fulfilling his dream. Never thought he would be self-employed in that way because he always worked for someone else.
How exciting.
It was fun.
Now, here's what I want you to think about as we go to this brief commercial break is when we come back, could you address the top 3 pushbacks that you encounter or obstacles, hurdles, take your pick, that clients that come peeking into your world to see if it's for them? What are the top 3 reasons you hear of why I don't know if I can do this? Okay, you know what I'm talking about there. There you go. Here we go again. We're going to get to that and a lot more when we return. Now's the great time to be a great steward by sharing the broadcast out. Bless others in the manner in which you seek to be blessed. We'll be back in about a minute. Don't you dare go away. All of our stories begin with either in the beginning or once upon a time. And for me, My story began pretty much, and this is how it was referred to for quite a while, a backdoor deal. I could be living in a different neighborhood, in a different school, with different kids in the same bedroom from day to day. And so it began to feel like I was moving through a maze. I was always the kind of kid who would talk to my imaginary friends. They would talk back. And I know now that it was a great thing because it was carving out a place for me to dream. A lot of us will say, well, I want to lose 10 pounds. And then down the road, we've gained it. Why? Because want comes like a wish list, but need comes with a plan. When you feel that power, that is your story, and you see how many paths it can light, trust me, there's nothing in the world that will make you say it wasn't worth it. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and my guest today is Diane Wingert. How are you? Welcome back.
I am ready for the 3 objections.
Okay, there they are. You're going to give us the 3 top objections that you hear from people that are talking themselves out of something they truly need or want. What are they?
The first one is that I have trouble putting myself out there. And I mentioned that before. I think a lot of people think that way. They believe that they have a lot to offer. They have evidence that what they do helps other people and maybe even transforms their lives. But this whole idea of needing to market themselves online, everybody jumps to the idea that they have to dance around on TikTok and they have to be a clown and all that. Well, you do have to be interesting and engaging. That is true. If you're boring, doesn't matter how much you know, nobody wants to hear from you. But there's an infinite number of possibilities for how someone can put themselves out there. And I think it's just fear talking when they say they can't do it. But they do need to at least believe they could learn. And they need to be willing to experiment with some different ways of putting themselves out, because otherwise I can't help them. I can't do it for them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is because a lot of people that are attracted to me also have ADHD, and people with ADHD, I have a great deal of expertise in working with entrepreneurs with ADHD.
It's a superpower.
I think so, but it can also mess your shit up.
It can.
Right?
It can.
And so in fact, when it comes to ADHD, Lauren, there are people, and I've spoken about this on a number of podcasts, there are a lot of people who say it's a superpower, and there are a lot of people who say it's a disability. And I say, it depends on how you structure your life, which one it's going to be for you.
Right.
Right. You got to know what you're dealing with.
Me. It's
yes,
been
same.
both.
Absolutely same.
Right.
Same. So
right.
Because a lot of people that are attracted to me have ADHD, they will say, I don't know how I'm going to be able to build a business and maintain it because I have so many creative ideas. And every time I get a creative new idea, I want to do that. So a lot of these people come to me and say, well, I have a business I want your help with. And then I have another business and I have another business. And I'm like, okay, I see what the problem is here, because we want to do all the things. And some people say, well, I'm just a multi-passionate, multi-potential. Well, that may be so. But if you're going to build a business, you need to point all that energy in one direction until that business can be taken over, some of the roles, at least by other people, because you can't chase that many goals at the same time and get anywhere. You just can't.
No.
You got to have a team for that. So we need to work one idea to the point where other people can come in and help, and then we can start the next one. And some people aren't willing to do that. So that's the second one. And the third one is a combination of traits. You mentioned one of them earlier. I refer to it as the unholy trinity, and that is procrastination, perfectionism, and people pleasing. And those 3 traits often show up together, and they often show up in people who have ADHD and people who are highly creative. And the combination of those traits You may be the most talented, the most creative, the most innovative, the most original, the most energetic person on the planet. But if you do not know how to manage procrastination, perfectionism, and people pleasing, you will not succeed. And it'll be heartbreaking because you actually should.
You should.
Yep.
Now, a lot of creatives, there are a lot of things designed in society as far as growth markers, I refer to them, that really aren't set up or designed for a creative.
True.
You know, I tell a lot of parents that kind of be about, oh, my kid, can you mentor them, this and the other? And the first thing I find out like in 10 minutes with the kid is that this kid it's not that they don't like school and they don't like homework, but they're a creative.
Yes.
And so can you talk about how different the creative mindset is, especially when it pertains to entrepreneurship,
Yes.
solopreneurship? It's a very different process. Talk about
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of highly creative people would probably qualify for a diagnosis of ADHD.
I agree.
Yeah. And so, but here's the thing, part of what needs to be managed for the creative, and this is something that the folks in the ADHD community kind of want to claim, but I see this with all creatives. I see this with people who are queer. I see this with people who are neurotypical in terms of autism and other differences, OCD, so forth. They struggle with rejection sensitivity. Now, because of the way I grew up.
Rejections. Oh, yeah.
Because I grew up in a adoptive home that was very abusive, because you grew up in the foster care system. One of the things we had to learn about early in life was how to manage our rejection sensitivity and how to turn our self-concept around so that we could still love on ourselves. We could still feel confidence in ourselves. We could still have positive self-regard and self-esteem, even if and when other people reject us. You have to be able to get ahead of that. And a lot of creative people really, really, really struggle with that. And you'll see this in all kinds of ways that they may not even think of as rejection sensitivity. I'm going to give you a couple examples. For example, the artist who may say, I could never charge for my work because then it's not art anymore, it's commerce, and I'm not here for that. But meanwhile, they don't have two coins to rub together, and they're always couch surfing because they can't afford to support themselves. So I'm like, that there's a possibility that what's going on here is rejection sensitivity, because until you ask somebody to pay you for what you do, you're not really putting your creativity on the line in that way. A lot of people who have trouble with visibility, with marketing, it's like, I want to just create, but I don't want people to evaluate it or judge it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, and because they take it personally. And so it's like the creative sensitive person identifies so much with their creations that when someone else doesn't like it, doesn't want it, it's just not for them, they'll feel wounded by that. And it's a skill that we need to develop as highly sensitive, creative people. You know what I say to them? Honey, you are an orchid. You are not a daisy. A daisy can grow anywhere. It's basically a freaking weed.
Yeah.
An orchid is unique and rare and special, and it requires different handling. But you have to handle your own sensitivity to what other people think about your creativity.
It's like, it sounds to me like, it's like saving up for that great outfit, and then you never put it on. You just hold it up to you in the closet and look, you don't even look in the mirror to see it held up. You just hold it up, or you take it out and hang it back up. What the hell? No, I'm not, some people, I ain't putting that on. I just got it. No. Sometimes I put it on in the car before I can leave the parking lot. I don't care.
You be dancing around with the price tag still on and everything.
I've done that too. Sure have. I sure have, because it's like this. And I get it. And you're right. I've met a lot of people who have all this great work. And I mean, who was it? One of my clients just this weekend, they called to, sorry, wish I was in town so I could come, And we're just talking. Then out of nowhere, she just throws it out there that, well, maybe I should do something with the book.
I published it, but no one even knows I have it. I'm like, girl, you've been coaching with me for 2 years, and I'm just now finding out you actually have a book.
Mm.
And she just went in a drawer and pulled it out. And I'm like, who does that? Clearly, more people than we know.
Yes.
So, but that's on the front end. But there's also people, who okay, they keep it in, they never bring it out. But then there are those people, what is that have things, and they have cases of books in their basement that they wrote. And that's that rejection thing.
It's the combination, I think. And of course, I'm making broad sweeping generalizations. Every human being is a unique collection of beliefs, behaviors, attributes, history. But in general, highly sensitive, creative people tend to be highly sensitive. And what I mean by highly sensitive is they're not just sensitive to rejection. They're sensitive to their environment. They need their environment to be hospitable to them, which is why I call them orchids. They may have trouble with crowds. They may have trouble with loud noises. They may have trouble with smells. So their nervous system, their physiology is more sensitive. And so
y'all smell that?
That's you. That's you.
Oh, that's so funny. Do that at any party.
Yeah.
Y'all smell that? Watch what everybody does.
You'll find the creative people. Well, either that or everyone will be thinking, I didn't think anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe I should shower more. Here's the thing. If you are a sensitive person, you are a creative person. This society we live in, this culture we live in is not friendly and welcoming to you. It will shame you. It will blame you. It will marginalize you. It will tell you there's something wrong with you. I believe that creative people are the canaries in the coal mine. They, by virtue of the fact that they are more sensitive than other more neurologically dense people, they are the ones who are alert to the changes in our environment, socially, financially, politically, and they are affected by those changes. We need to be paying more attention to these people and not marginalizing them because they pick up on things that the rest of us eventually will. And for some of us, it'll be too late.
Well, speaking of people who pick up on things, a lot of people nowadays, more and more, are referring to themselves as empaths.
Yes.
I'm an empath. Now, there are still some people, though, that use the knowledge of being an empath as an excuse.
Yes.
And so take us back to what you originally said. I wrote it down because I don't think we talk about those two words as to putting them together as we should. And I'm speaking of self-concept. People talk about self this and self that, self-love, self-respect, low self-esteem, but I don't hear self-concept tossed around much. Take us into that a little bit if you could.
Yes, I'm so glad you're giving this question to me. Here's the thing. I believe right now we are in the age of identity. Right now, culturally speaking, a lot of people, a lot of trans people are coming out, a lot of non-binary people are coming out, a lot of even people are coming out with, extreme far right ideologies, and they're identifying with beliefs and behaviors that give them a sense of identity. I have an identity that's built around a lot of different things, not one thing. I believe you do as well. I think it can be troubling when we overly identify with one particular ideology because it means our self-concept rests on that. And one of the reasons why I think it's difficult for people to change is because it's not enough to just change your job, change your relationship, change your body, like lose a bunch of weight, change your lifestyle, come out of the closet. It's that you have to change your identity and your self-concept to be able to do that successfully. And the ego defends against change. The brain defends against change. I always say the brain is not your friend. The brain is a lazy mofo that wants to save calories by not changing because it's already got a bunch of shit on autopilot called neural pathways. Thinking, feeling, doing. It's all autopilot. So when you want to change, you actually have to go against your ego and the way your brain functions. So I think it's heroic. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of self-compassion and consistency to actually transform yourself in any meaningful way, because you're going against your own human nature that wants you to stay exactly the same, whether you're happy or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Makes perfect sense.
your self-concept is, and you can hear this in the way people speak. When someone says, well, I'm the kind of person who, or, I'm this kind of person, or I'm an empath, or I'm an HSP, or I'm a this, or I'm a that, they're telling you about their identity. They're telling you about their self-concept. And when someone says, yeah, I just can't really see myself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very revealing expression, because someone needs to be able to see themselves as the thinner person, as the non-smoker, as living out of the closet, as changing their career, as thriving in self-employment. They need to be able to see themselves in their brains, in their minds.
That's true.
Because if they can't see themselves in that way, their identity is still attached to who they've been.
Right. I agree. I also say, back to what we were talking about at the very beginning about, people who, I have this and I have this and I have this. I want to start this. I want to start this. It's very important, especially when you're dealing with the things like ADHD, shiny object syndrome. If people say you have that, you most likely are ADHD. Yep. But it helps with me because image drives everything. Mm-hmm. Seeing an image, like you said. So I always set my destination, my intention, my objective down at the corner of the next intersection, because I know I cannot see around corners. Yes. But then I come all the way back up to the other corner and take one slab of the sidewalk at a time, because that is process. And that is what creates momentum and drives me directly into the arms of what I set down there in the first place, the goal. If not, I've got a million different things, hence the term jack of all trades, master of none.
But you learned how to do this, though, Lauren, because I'll tell you,
I conditioned myself.
Yes. But here's the thing. You and I have ADHD. Now, when you are a little kid in school, people like, I know, painful. People like us are not driven to do what others say is important. We are driven to do what we find interesting. And an ADHD brain is an interest-based brain, not an importance-based brain. So we get ourselves in trouble with other people because they say, don't you know how important this is? You're screwing yourself up. If you drop out of school now, blah, blah, blah. But if it's not interesting to us, it's hard for us to imagine why we would want to continue doing it.
That's right.
And often we don't.
That's right. And I knew that my first shift at McDonald's at 15, I didn't even stay long enough to get the shift meal,
Oh, wow.
No, because the minute I put on that scratchy, nylon-y, rust-colored brown.
There's your sensitivity right there.
You know what
right
I'm saying?
There.
Outfit.
Yep.
I was like, ew. And then when they said, now take this broom or mop and go and police the dining room, I was like, what is that? And they're like, clean it. Oh, no. No. And they were like, well, then punch out. I was like, do I get the Big Mac and fries and all that? They're like, you have to be here 4 hours for that. So, but my point is, sometimes, let's talk about this as we round it out. We got a couple minutes left. What about people and their instincts? Because say, for instance, I am thinking everything you're saying. Now I have a therapy appointment at 10 o'clock this morning. And I ask my therapist, I'm thinking of getting a business coach. Now, the therapist most likely is going to send you anywhere but to a coach, whereas the coach would not probably have any problem saying you need therapy. So if a person doesn't know where to go, to start, to ask, to seek, what do they do?
This is a tough question because
I know.
The thing is, if we don't know what we need, then we're going to be vulnerable to possibly being exploited by someone who wants to convince us that they're what we need. So just like in everywhere in life, I can only speak for myself, Lauren, in saying that if somebody comes to me and wants to hire me as a business coach and I know they need a therapist, I will refer them to a therapist
Right.
and tell them to come back later. If somebody starts working with me as a business coach and I'm seeing a lot of things coming up that are interfering with their ability to thrive in their business, but they're more limiting beliefs and habits and things like that, I can work with that as a psychologically sophisticated business coach. But it really comes down to the integrity of the person that you are working with. Will they point out that maybe what you need isn't what they have? I don't know that you can count on that. So I think a great thing to do, and this is a general suggestion, but a very helpful one, is when you are considering working with someone, ask that very question. If we were to work together and you begin to recognize that what I need is outside your scope of practice, what would you do? Their answer will be very revealing.
Yes, it will. And also revealing on your screen are 2 roads to Coach Diane. And I know that one of you out there, 1 billion quadrillion, right now you're thinking, I can't afford therapy. I could probably get her to do both at the same time. Not going to happen.
Nope.
I can already tell you. I already know because there's one upstairs. They're not going to cross that line. So if you really feel you need one or the other, who knows? Go and find out. This is one place you're going to get what you need to hear. Nope. It's not a good time for us, but you're probably right about therapy, or come on in. I've got something cooking that you just might want to take with you. So Instagram is above. Underneath, scrolling along the bottom of your screen, is Facebook. Is there a website?
Now, of course, Diane Wingert Coaching, but you got to get the Diane spelled just right. 2 N's, no E's.
N.
And of course, they can listen to me on the Driven Woman Entrepreneur podcast.
And at the conclusion, would you mind going into the comment section and dropping in the link for your podcast? And I have already dropped in, I'm about to drop the second one inside your comment section, you guys, for easy use. The Instagram is now in there with you, and we'll make sure everything else is too. And if you want to just put it here, we'll take care of that for you, Diane.
I'm grabbing it.
Great. Thank you so much. This hour has flown by. I look forward to hearing more from you in the near future. You're welcome back anytime. And you guys head over and check out all the things that this wonderful, wonderful coach has for you, especially if you're ready to just do the damn thing. Quit talking about it. It's time to be about it. So thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for getting up with the crack of dawn out there on the West Coast. It's just coming up on 7 a.m. out there. So listen, and for all of you out there, tomorrow, Debbie Gratitude is here. Debbie Gratitude. She's going to defy any of you to not leave the hour filled to the brim with gratitude. She has a process that she says works for absolutely anyone, no matter how dark it may seem on the outside. She's going to show you how to find gratitude from the inside. So Debbie Gratitude in the house tomorrow, and a bunch of other great people throughout the rest of the week. Diane, thank you so much. You guys head over, check out the podcast. And as I say, and do you have anything you want to say before you leave?
Maybe I'm going to party with you for your next birthday, so get ready.
There you go. As long as I can come to Palm Springs.
You got it.
I love that place. Listen, you guys, all of you, thank you so much for helping me start my day within one of the greatest promises available. And that's the one where it guarantees, where 2 of us comes together with the same mindset, hard set, that, spirit of service to each other. Spiritual magic is the outcome. So thank you for that. Get out of here. Have your best day ever. Don't just collect friends, collect divine friends. Don't just sit and take up space. Take up sacred space. Try it. You just might like it. Get out of here. I tell you every day, I love you, love you, love you, love you. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow morning, God willing, right over there on the front porch. Have a best day ever. Bye. Bye, Diane.
Bye.
Great job. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me way past time.
How explicit do I have to be?
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby?
Show me your soul.
And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.